Hello there. Welcome back to Sci-Fi Saturday. Uh, for you, it's really not going to feel like it, but for me, it's been a while, a few days. I kind of got a little lazy. I got a little sidetracked and did not record. I was meant to keep recording almost all weekend, except for this is the day after Backlash France that I'm recording this. So yeah, but we are reviewing the first movie in a series of three movies that will explore the filmography of Neil Blomkamp, the South African director. You see that trilogy over there. So, yes, so this is District 9, a movie I've heard about, never really had the inkling to go out and watch it. I looked it up, I've never seen any of Blomkamp's films. I also find it very confusing. He did his latest film is Gran Turismo. Why does that stick out as a sore thumb? Yes, these very interesting looking sci-fi films like District 9, Elysium, and Chappie. And then there's other ones, one like called Demonic. And then you just have Gran Turismo, which doesn't feel like it would, be from the same director. But I've never seen it yet, so who knows? Also, I am warning you before you watch this. It's a South African director, so this takes place in South Africa. And at first I'm watching this, I'm going, why are we in South Africa? I get he's South African. Sure, it was probably easier, probably cheaper to do it at home. Sure. But I always do it anyway, but I had to turn on subtitles so I could read what they're saying because it's a little bit hard to understand. I did, strangely enough, though, it was easier for me to get through than Rock and Roller, which had British accents, and that was very confusing and it didn't hold my interest. But this movie did, so to get your movie has to be more interesting, Guy Ritchie. But yeah, it tells a story of it's told as if it's not really found footage, but it's more like a documentary following Sharlto Copley's character Venice, what Willis? Hold on. It's a weird fucking name. There's no name. I'm just gonna call him Sharlto Copley throughout the film, but throughout the review, I guess. As he is doing he gets promoted, in this company. So 20 years prior to this documentary, there was an incident in which giant shrimp looking aliens came to Earth and they were carted off into an area called District 9. So in this film, Sharlto Copley's character gets promoted and he's out doing his job when an incident causes him to get this goop on him that starts to transform him into one of these shrimp aliens. And I was like, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, so it's going to be revealed they're not actually aliens, but it's this goop that came in and splashed on a bunch of people and turned them into aliens. No, into these creatures. But no, they're actually aliens. Just whatever this goop is can also change them. I think they said it was some sort of fuel. I don't know. It's also confusing. You have to really pay attention because not only are they speaking in heavy South African or African accents, the aliens don't speak English. They're just which weird kind of language. So you have to sort of watch it. And again, I can watch Star Wars and be like, Indi Jabawanga. Benyatuku solo. Amatundan solo manako wuki. You know, I had to keep looking. There's so much of it. In Star Wars, there's not a lot of alien talk. A lot of them speak English. It's easier that way. But here, Yeah, so speak. And I could see that because if they're filming in South Africa, they would probably have South African accents. I don't know if they'd want to do different kind of accents, but it works. It's also weird to me because there's an exchange. They give them names, like this alien, his name is Christopher, and Charlotte Copley is talking to him. They're having a conversation, so they understand each other. So why couldn't they speak English and have it be as if, oh, we have a translator thing, and what you will be hearing is the English translation of what is going on. Like they have a translator, so they can have a little thing in his ear, like he can understand what they're saying because of a translator, and then it's also translated to us through this documentary. That would make sense. But no, they speak any language, but they can still somehow understand them. Yeah, so these like three aliens were scavenging and found this stuff, and then some of that stuff spilled on him, and it's starting to change him. What I love is the scene when he's in the hospital. They're going to look at his hand, and they're cutting open this bandage that's on his arm, right? Because he starts to throw up this black goop. And I'm sitting back because that's what he was doing. So he starts to throw up this black goop and everything, and so they take him to this hospital room and they're starting to cut open this thing. And what I love is that it's effective. The score and the acting from the actors when it just comes out and it's this claw, this alien prawn claw, this thing, and he's freaking out and everything. And this is where it gets very much where it becomes kind of a dramatic story for him, like a very like. So from this point on, once they realize, hey, he's become one of these things, he is no longer the person he used to be. He now becomes a government experiment. Because as we find out later, they were experimenting on aliens too, because the fucking government. Now I can't say for in real life, because you don't know, but I would like to say, well, the government probably wouldn't like them being portrayed like that in movies if that's the way that it was. But then again, if they weren't like that, I don't know. But yeah, they were experimenting on these aliens and everything, and yeah, and uh, we'll find out later. But yeah, they start experimenting on him because the the aliens have weapons that only the aliens can activate. So they have him. They have we can find a way, you know. But they have him, so now they can try to find a way to. He breaks out to use it for the weapons. So he breaks out, and the government makes up some bullshit about how he's secretly been in league with these things and all that, making him, public enemy number one. And so it now becomes you should, he's a fugitive now, and so he seeks refuge from that alien, from Christopher, trying to figure out a way to escape. And yes, it's done very shaky cam, and I'm very confused because I don't think they're still shooting the documentary stuff with him, but it's still very shaky cam, as if they just wanted the same style throughout the film. But it doesn't make sense because there's one point towards the climax when you see the way I'm actually, because I'm off to the side here, so I actually look, I'm watching the screen over here, and I see it, and I'm like, it's towards the end of the film, and I'm just like, why is it still shaky? Why does it still look like it's a documentary? I don't know. It's very confusing. Also, I felt like the the transformation itself was unclear as to how fast it should work because his arm changes completely into the claw within a day, and then the whole rest of the film, which I think takes place over maybe a day or two, there's nothing. They say that he's changing, but he's not. He doesn't completely change. Is it just the arm because he got in there? I don't know, but I don't know. He also talks to Christopher, and they're going to get in a secret spaceship Christopher has, and they're going to fly off to the mothership so they can get help for him to save, to change him back and all that. But then, after they find out that they're being experimented on, Christopher's resolve is differently, and now he's changed his mind, and he says it's going to take 3 years. And I'm just, and he says, well, they're experimenting on us. I'm like, wait. So it's going to take longer now because they're experimenting. You think that this would be like a full-fledged retreat from the planet? They'll be trying to leave. No, I guess they probably all can't. But I don't know. But he basically what Christopher is saying is screw the human race. Like, I'm not gonna help you. But he didn't know. Charles Copley didn't know about, about what was going on. He had no idea. But yeah, and there's some decent action stuff in here. Again, it's not heavily focused on the action. There's gun shooting. There's a point where Charles Copley gets a hold of one of the alien blasters and just starts poof, and poof with it, and it looks really good. I mean, this whole movie looks really good in it. And I also like the score. It comes off it's very African. It's because they're in South Africa. It comes out at the end there. It's very well done. The score in here is very well done. I don't know who did it, but it's very well done. And like I said, it looks really good, despite the shaky cam throughout the film, which again, I don't know if it's necessary, because it gives off, yes, it looks like a documentary, but I don't think they had a cameraman within the perimeters of the story, that a cameraman kept following him around while this was happening. He wasn't talking to the cameraman. We don't hear the cameraman talking at this point, so I really don't know, but... And I also thought Charlotte Copley did a good job. Like I said, that scene alone, when he sees the claw and he freaks out, he's really lost it. And afterwards, when he escapes, he's trying to get a hold of anyone to help him. His people he knows is his friends, and they've all abandoned him because of what the government has lied to the people about. They think he's a fugitive. They think he's against them, and so it's and he all he wants to do is get changed back so he can get back to his wife. That's all he wants. Keep in mind that even if he did get changed back, it wouldn't be that simple. There's no way. You try to walk back in, healed, the government would still grab his ass and throw him in a cage. They would still try to experiment on him to see. I've seen movies like this, man. They would still try to experiment on him to see if there's anything left. If he could still work a weapon, they would still experiment on him until they couldn't anymore. And then, just to make sure he doesn't spill out anything, they'll kill him. Or, just to make things easier, they'll shoot him on sight. Without even trying to experiment him on again. They know it's not worth it. Kill him. So, even if he was able to get changed back, there's no guarantee it would be good. It would be good for him. I mean, it would be, everything would be normal. I still haven't had lunch yet. My stomach's gurgling. But yeah, overall, I thought this movie was very well done. I thought it worked very well. It was for something I didn't have any interest in before, if I could speak English. I think that this was very well done. And especially since it was Neil Blomkamp's first film, I think he did a pretty good job. And again, now that I thought about that, it's his first film. Probably didn't have that big of a budget. That's why he shot it. Probably why he shot it in South Africa, South African cast, all of that. But the CGI on the aliens is actually really good. And again, the budget, probably why, is shaky cam. It's probably easier to do it cheaper to do it that way. All the shaky cam stuff, who knows? Because a lot of people, one of their first films are going to be found footage because it's easier to do it that way, right? And you look at these independent filmmakers, you go out there, they're going to shoot movies, they're gonna look like Channel Awesome's movies that they did, right? Like Kick-Assia or Suburban Nights or To Boldly Flee, which is over 3 fucking hours. Those are done. You can tell they're done cheaply. But not only is this his first film, it doesn't look cheap, except for the shaky cam. But even then, the cinematography still looks pretty good. So even for a first film, it's actually pretty good. And I'm gonna stick by that as my rating. I got itch in my back. Sorry. Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on District 9? Comment below, share, like, share, and subscribe. And up next week, we will be looking at the next Neil Blomkamp film, Elysium, starring Matt Damon. Now you got a big star in your film, so now you got something. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.